welcome back to another episode of Sketchbook Session. This one's a little bit different because I finally started on a portrait sketchbook. I've been meaning to start another portrait sketchbook for a while now, but I've always been putting it off. So during the Christmas break, I finally decided that it's about time that I start on one. I'm gonna try to record a good chunk of the portraits that I make in this sketchbook, and then I'll upload it as sketchbook sessions. And hopefully towards the end, once I'm done, then we can do a sketchbook tour for this one. I'll be using a bunch of different mediums for this one. Although the sketchbook itself is made for markers and inks, I'm gonna try and experiment with other mediums such as poster colors or gouache in it, and I'll even try oils to see if it'll work on here. The pages are quite thin, well, not super thin, but it's thin enough to be pliable, but it has a special treatment wherein it allows markers to absorb without incurring a bleed through. But when the sun hits my face, I think of you. The sketchbook I'm using is a crescent render sketchbook. It's made primarily for markers, but you can use it with other mediums, including inks, paints, or whatever it is that you fancy. You can't use it for watercolors or any water medium, but pretty much anything else you can. But the real highlight for this particular sketchbook is that it is made from a specialized type of paper that doesn't allow markers or inks to bleed through. So you can pretty much layer various markers and you definitely don't get any bleed through to the other page, which means you can use both sides without any worry. My one complaint about this paper though is that I noticed that even though it has a smooth surface, as you can see, when you first put on the markers, you can see that there's a slight texture to it, and that never really goes away. You can't fully create super smooth blending with this paper for some reason, but if you're okay with having a little bit of texture in your marker drawings, then it shouldn't be a big deal. From all the things that are you. During this part, I'm adding the black inks for the hair. So I'll also be using a mix of mediums for one drawing, because I find that sometimes, even though I want to use markers for the entirety of a portrait, I really can't, especially because it'll dry up my marker inks way too fast. And I also find that I can't get a very smooth gradation whenever I use markers, especially for large passages. So I'd rather avoid that. Don't you feel the times are coming? 'Cause I feel it so strong. I've been done, hold on, baby. And here's the finished portrait. So this is portrait number 1. So here's drawing number 2. For this one, I actually recorded from the beginning, so at least you get to see how I start. A few of the portraits I managed to record during the very start, like even during the sketching process, but for the others, I just ended up recording the coloring process instead. Most of the time, I just forget to hit record on the phone or on the camera, so I don't have it filmed. But anyway, I'm trying to work on that. Hopefully I can remember it for the rest of the sessions. If you're an anime fan, then you might recognize this guy. He's Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. During the Christmas break, I've been catching up with a lot of my anime, so I finally watched season 2, which was awesome. So I decided to do a little bit of fan art. Although I admit I kind of messed up the likeness on this one. I mean, it looked fine when I was drawing it, but when I started coloring with the markers, somehow I messed up the likeness. Anyway, I still kind of like it, you know. It's been a long time since I've done any fan art or even any anime style drawing, so I'm forgiving myself for this one. I would like to do a few more portraits of some of the other characters, so we'll see about that. Anyway, I know some of you guys might be interested with the process, the coloring process with the markers. I'll talk more about that in depth in my other portrait sessions. There's going to be a lot more coming up, and I'm definitely going to use my markers for a huge chunk of the video, so I'll do a more thorough and in-depth tutorial for that one. I'll leave you guys here and jump in the subs, and I'll see you towards the end of the video. we're done. Here's the finished piece. And here's the two drawings together. Thank you so much for joining me on this video, and you guys have a happy new year. See ya.